Welcome to the Youth Board of Directors World No Tobacco Day webinar. World No Tobacco Day is a global day of action held annually on May 31st. This year's event, sponsored by the World Health Organization, aims to debunk myths and expose the devious tactics employed by the tobacco industry to addict a new generation of users. We are presenting this webinar to educate youth advocates like us on this year's theme and actions they can take against the industry.
Before we get started, we wanted to just take the time to introduce ourselves and the organization that we represent. The California Youth Advocacy Network's Youth Board of Directors is made up of high school students from across California. We provide direction and guidance to CYAN's youth program. There are 9 of us total, but today we are the 4 presenting. Hi, my name is Kate and I'm from Hollister, California.
Hi, my name's Milton and I'm from Sacramento, California.
Hi, my name's Alexity and I'm from Madera, California.
Hi, my name's Jesus and I'm from Oxnard, California. So the California Youth Advocacy Network, or also known as CYAN, changes the tobacco use culture in California's high schools, colleges, and universities, military installations, and other youth and young adult communities by providing knowledge, skills, and tools to create local change for healthier communities. CYAN provides training and technical assistance to individuals, organizations, and coalitions advocating for tobacco-free communities. We are funded by the California Tobacco Control Program. Like us, many of you have gotten involved in tobacco control and advocacy because of the industry's horrendous social injustices and promotion of racism through targeting and inequitable policies. Therefore, we did not want to conduct this webinar without asking for a moment of silence for George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and all those who have lost their lives to police brutality. We also do not believe that all cops are bad and recognize that this goes beyond the individual actions of any one officer. Rather, we want to honor those who have lost their lives in the fight for racial equity, including all too recently Ahmaud Arbery, and shed light on the systemic racism that this country functions within. Please join us in a moment of silence now. Thank you.
Here's a video created by the World Health Organization in honor of the World No Tobacco Day 2020 to show how tobacco is trying to fill its gaps of customers with youth.
I'll let you in on a secret. You might be able to figure it out on your own, but not everyone does. Over the years, many have bought into it, without even knowing. The world's most thoroughly smoked. They tell us stories to make us feel good. Time goes by, people change, but it's still there. The same old story. They might just look different. They even try to make it sound like they have healthier alternatives. They use unseen strategies with dark agendas. And every year, 8 million people enter an early grave. But the real secret is that it doesn't end there. The industry persists. It grows aggressively, like the diseases it causes. And every year, it creates 8 million new gaps in the market, and it doesn't care who fills them. Even if it's
someone like me.
The tobacco industry is targeting children and adolescents to replace the 8 million people their products kill each year. Speak out. Tobacco exposed.
The first thing we want to talk about today is how the tobacco industry targets and attracts young people with different flavored products. One main reason flavors are used is because they mask the harshness of the tobacco and nicotine. If you've ever seen someone use a cigarette or vape for the first time, you probably saw them cough or choke a lot. That's because tobacco is really harsh on the lungs, throat, and the overall body. Over time, the lungs and throat get used to it and acclimate. The tobacco industry added flavors to tobacco products to mask how harsh they really are. That makes them easier for young people to start and keep on using them. Some flavors look like candy, and some even use the same flavoring. I'm sure we all recognize what candies these are imitating. For example, I see Sour Patch Kids or Swedish Fish. All too often, we see the tobacco industry replicate different candies in order to appeal and attract youth to use their products. Even though these vape juices aren't made by the candy brands you all just mentioned, they still use the same colors, fonts, and similar words, so they still play on our brand recognition and make it feel like something we are comfortable with, or even something that makes us happy, or something that tastes good. 4 out of every 5 young people who vape started vaping with a flavored tobacco product. So this is more than just a theory. We actually know that young people use flavors. Now we're going to do a poll question and ask you what you think the #1 flavor used by youth is. Our question is, what was the top flavor used by youth in 2019? Was it A, mango, B, mint, C, cucumber, or D, fruit? So the correct response was B, mint. Mint or menthol is the top flavor among many different tobacco users. As you can see, it is used by 85.8% of African American tobacco users, 47% of youth tobacco users, 46% of Latinx tobacco users, and 39% of Asian tobacco users. Despite being a very popular flavor, mint and menthol have been left out of the country's cigarette and e-cigarette flavor bans, leaving a huge gap in our policies. Any questions?
In the next segment, we would like to talk about youth targeting at events. In the past, brands like Newport, Kool, and RJ Reynolds have all had van programs that drove around the country giving out free samples to youth and young adults. This is a direct quote from the Kool Market Development Program, one of the programs that was giving free samples from these vans. A total of 1.9 million samples will be distributed to targeted smokers in 1983. Sample distribution will be targeted to housing projects, clubs, community organizations, and events where Kool's Black young adult targets congregate. From this quote, it is clear that the tobacco industry was targeting low-income Black young adults with their products. Another way that the tobacco industry targeted youth and young adults was through sponsorships of events such as music festivals, sports gatherings, family sponsorships, and fraternity and sorority sponsorships. We're going to take a look at some of the evidence of this right now. This is an ad for the Kool Jazz Festival, sponsored by the brand Kool to target both youth and minorities. This is a car racing sponsorship. The Cancer Research Society actually found that boys are twice as likely to become regular smokers if they're racing fans. This is just another piece of evidence that shows how impactful sponsorships can be. This is a rodeo sponsorship. Rodeos are a huge part of some specific communities and are typically attended by families. On your screen now is just another example of tobacco sponsorship in the form of a concert poster. In California, we now have strong laws and enforcement that do not allow free samples for people under 18. But despite that, promotions are still happening. This is a promotion that the brand Swisher Sweets did for up-and-coming artists called C-Store sessions, like convenience stores. This provided artists with exposure and professional videography of them while Swisher Sweets advertised their products in the background. These are photos from Juul's launch party. Hosted in New York City, young adults were invited to a really fun and trendy party and were given free samples and products. This was only allowed because they were older than 18, but it still attracted younger audiences. And here's just another example of Juul's party marketing strategy and their celebration of these harmful vaping practices. Any questions?
The final point we're going to be discussing is advertising and product placement, and how it's no coincidence that a lot of movies that young people like are filled with different tobacco products. Before we continue, let's do another poll. Youth are everywhere and the tobacco industry always manages to find them. Which of these industries do you think they partner with to target youth? A, movies, B, social media influencers, C, TV shows, D, all of the above. If you guessed D, you're correct. The tobacco industry uses all three of these platforms to advertise their products in obvious and not so obvious ways. Let's talk a little bit about history. In 1998, there was an accord reached called the Master Settlement Agreement. This regulated how the 4 largest cigarette companies in America could advertise, market, and promote cigarettes. What this changed at the time was just about everything. Tobacco advertising that targets people younger than age 18 was prohibited. Cartoons and cigarette advertising were eliminated, like Joe Camel. Outdoor, billboard, and public transit advertising of cigarettes was eliminated, and cigarette brands' names could no longer be used on merchandise. The Master Settlement Agreement changed everything, but a lot in the world was also changing. In 1998, social media was very different, and the Master Settlement Agreement did not include the major parts of our world today. This reality created opportunities for the tobacco industry, new and old, to have access to the screens and accounts of young people, which was a loophole in the MSA to hook a new generation. Many tobacco companies use social media platforms such as Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube, and it's all loopholes to the MSA. Juul paid popular influencers to post photos holding their products, which increased the likelihood of younger people using the products and getting addicted. For instance, Christina Zayas has 51.2 thousand followers. The Piper Jaffray Fall 2019 survey of almost 10,000 teenagers showed that there are more teens on YouTube than on Netflix, 37% versus 35% respectively. More than 8,000 Juul-related videos and a total of 260 million views from 2016 to 2018. Social media is just the newest wave of marketing that kills. The entertainment industry has been a part of the marketing industry for many decades. In 1980, Philip Morris paid to be advertised in Superman. Product placement is a part of the entertainment industry that not only tobacco takes advantage of. E.T. was the #1 film from 1982 to 1983, and in the film there's an important scene with the candy, Reese's. The film increased Reese's sales by 300%. Additionally, Chevy paid $200 million to have the Camaro used in Transformers. Product placement is a part of a lot of movies and TV shows. As we see here, Stranger Things, The Bee Movie, Toy Story, and The Devil Wears Prada all have product advertisements. The problem with product placement for the tobacco industry is the most obvious fact. They're promoting a product that kills. The 2012 Surgeon General's report concluded that exposure to on-screen smoking in movies causes young people to start smoking. Essentially, what the Surgeon General said in 2012 is when young people see behaviors in movies, they are more likely to copy them. Pop quiz. Which show had the highest number of tobacco incidents? A, The Walking Dead, or B, Stranger Things? If you guess B, you're correct. Stranger Things had 182 tobacco incidents, twice as tobacco incidents as The Walking Dead. Fact, last year Netflix reported over 40 million accounts watching Stranger Things in the first episode of season 3. Same style, different product. Just like with flavors and free samples, the Juul and e-cigarette industry is using the same tactics to attract youth to their products just 5 years ago. Juul, which from 2015 to 2018 was the most popular e-cigarette in the nation, used the same strategies for advertising of the earlier tobacco industry. You can see their attempts to portray this image as fun, romantic, cool, and sleek. There is no difference between what the tobacco industry started and what we are trying to end now. Media meant for young people is being manipulated to promote the use of tobacco products. The social media accounts of young people are being tracked to initiate interest in tobacco products. Pop culture is teen culture. Any questions?
World Health Organization call to action. The world cannot afford another generation deceived by the lies of the tobacco industry, which pretends to promote freedom of personal choice while really ensuring eternal profits, regardless of the millions of people that pay with their life each year. United Health Organization urges influencers in pop culture, on social media, in the home, or in the classroom, who reach and connect with youth to expose the industry's manipulative tactics to create a new generation of tobacco users. We need to empower youth to stand up to big tobacco by dispelling its lies and refusing to use its products. Right now, even if we can't physically meet with our decision makers, we can advocate for a smoke-free environment. We can't tell our decision makers what choice to make, but we can educate our decision makers on previous tobacco policies that have been passed federally and statewide. Please take the information that you have learned here to demonstrate to your decision makers why is it so critical to have a community that is tobacco free. If we can't get it off our screens, at least we can get it out of our community. Some legislators are even trying to pass policy like the Kids Internet Design and Safety Act. Your group can organize local events to engage and educate your peers and build a movement for a tobacco-free generation. Advocate for the adoption of effective tobacco control policies in your community to curb and prevent the manipulation of nicotine and tobacco industries. You can write letters to the editor and request letters of support from our community members to show support for a tobacco-free environment. You can call your legislator's office to conduct teleconference educational meetings. Your group can advocate by participating in virtual decision-maker meetings. Some people are submitting educational videos to decision makers, which is an opportunity to be creative. You can come join us at the statewide Youth Advocacy Conference and register tomorrow. Follow us on Instagram, join our listserv, and share resources with friends. The survey link will be in the chat box, and you will have an opportunity to win a $5 gift card for taking it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.